as a result of my obedience, not Satan, but God himself has spit on me. It's impossible to perceive this as an act of correction, not judgment or a penalty, but you mean to tell me I've come to you to be enlightened or to receive revelation, and instead of opening my eyes, I smell the stench of your spit. I don't understand. I need to understand what you're doing. It's not my enemies that's creating this problem for me. It's not my enemies. It's not even Satan. I rebuked him. He fled. I pleaded the blood. He fled. But here I'm in this predicament because all I'm doing is responding to my determination to give you an eternal yes. I made a promise in 08 coming into 09. Yes, Lord, I'll go all the way. But I didn't know it was going to be as it's been. And I'm grateful on the 17th day of a new year just to declare I crossed over with my right mind. But things aren't complimenting my commitment. Is anybody here knows that things, your finances, is not complimenting your commitment? Anybody here wondering, was that prophecy true that the last prophet gave me? If I knew I was going to be facing this situation, I would have never sold the thousands. I would have kept some in reserve. But I heard you say, give 100, give 200, sow 1,000. I've given my seed, and now I have a need. Where in the ham sandwich is my harvest? I'm trying to figure out, was it God after all? But I've determined it's my yes that got me in trouble. Anybody here, your yes is responsible for your trouble? Anybody here, you're thinking about taking it back? But touch your neighbor and say, you're sitting next to the wrong person, because before I take it back, I'll add more to it. This is not the first time I've had to live with tears, and I'm telling my tears, you too shall pass. I'm confident he who has begun it. Is there anybody here tonight? Touch your neighbor and say, I'm having an issue. Come on, tell him I'm having an issue. I'm looking at my circumstances and it does not complement my commitment. Then I'm looking at the world excelling. And I'm sitting with saints who are suffering. The truth of the matter is, before tonight's praise, I was having a setback. And my setback was speaking to me. Don't just set back, step back. Anybody was thinking about, cutting down your time, cutting down your tithes, cutting down your giving. But touch your neighbor and say, before I take it back, I'm determined to add more to it. I feel a determination like Daniel. I'll open my windows towards Jerusalem. I'm going to add more to it. I'm not going to diminish this. Is there a witness, my brother? I'm going to add more. God, help me preach here tonight. I'm going to my seat just a moment. Yeah. But touch your neighbor and say, I'm going to add more to it. When did you say the next meeting was? When did you say we're coming back to service? I'll be here before time. I'll be here to open up. I'll be here to pray. I'll be here to participate. Come on, encourage my praise, because I've been waiting for this opportunity. Been skipping along the way and path at the cost of my job at home. But there's nothing like a church praise, because the church was designed to offer the praise. So I couldn't wait to get here to give him a praise. I owe him. It is. I got to close, Bishop. I got to close. But here's a particular text that looks at a situation that does not complement a man's obedience. Faithfulness, consistency, determination. Here is a man described by the king responsible for his affliction as being a servant of God. Only servants can relate to the text, because your would-be enemy is not the one responsible for your den experience. It is the conspiracy of others who who are determined to set you back because they can't understand your promotion that you no longer can perceive. What happens when I'm walking in a promotion that I no longer can perceive because the circumstances no longer complement my promotion? Here I am doing all that I'm doing, and as a result, the king is favored from what I'm doing. I'm attempting to stretch the text, but don't misconstrue my attempt. I don't want to incorrectly exegete, but I do want to run the risk of the possibility of you associating and understanding that here the text could possibly relate the king to a similarity, and I'm going to stretch it, but I'm going to connect the dots in just a moment, that the king can be a type of God. Now, I understand it can be a type of God. Now, no one can conspire against you and force God to play a role in your demise. I don't care who's been praying against you. They might as well drop it. I don't care. Even some of our ignorant saints and people we go to church. That's all right, that God bless you. No, you don't mean that from your heart. You could have kept that God bless you. And you can be over there praying all you want that God gets me. God gonna get us if anybody's gonna be gotten. Because just like me, you're a mess. Now look here and tell your neighbor, say, he talking right. Now look at here, the king, bishop, unknowingly is